Hello, so now we are on to, I'm going to fix the little trim around the base here. So this one here, so it is a little bit tricky, this one. Mainly it's because it's so thin, and also it's because of the way that I'm demonstrating, so I'm working down on it. So if you really do decide to have a go at home with these, raise the model up and work at eye level so you can actually get in with it. It's always a great idea with Saracino especially, or with any sugar medium, a modelling medium, is to leave things to dry, to set as long as possible before you dust them, because this all needs dusting. So if I do the arms, that'll be really well set, and then the dust will go on much better, because normally I would try dust the next day, you know, even with something as simple as this. Just because I think it blends much better when it's totally dry on Saracino. So the little arms, so the two, well actually I think I've got these too big, so they're only 1 gram. I think I might have done a misprint on there. I'll just have to check on my handouts. So they're only literally small pea sizes, yeah. So just looking at those, I'm thinking, wow, they're way too big. So yeah, so a large pea each, and that's probably going to be too big as well. Right, we're going to say a medium pea. So a medium garden pea. And then of course you need absolutely a tiny amount for a little tiny hand on the end. So it's just getting them the same size. So I don't really want to do any trimming on this. I want to just roll them and have them right straight away, just because of the shape really. So nice and pliable, and just a little bit thinner on the end, so tapered, and again both of them together. So anything in pairs, I always make it together. I never do one and then the other one. That was what I used to do many years ago, but no, not anymore. Right, so got those, so they're only just about a 1.5 centimetres long. So it's deciding, once you've got your little arms, it's deciding where to put them. So the easiest position, of course, is always just straight down by the body. But if you was going to put them in that position, I'd always put the little hand on first. I wouldn't try to get the hand under the paste. I use the cocktail sticks there for support, to get them to come out like this. So what I might do is I'll do that cocktail stick technique to show you, but instead of them coming up and sitting up higher like the little one is, I'll just show you. His little arms look up high, or coming up at an angle. I might get these just to come more straight out. So once you've got your little shapes, and because I'm doing that, I'm going to put the hands on when the arms are on. So with a scriber, make a hole in here first. So I always, with anything threading techniques I call them, I always make the hole small and then big, and then so I don't just force a cocktail stick through it straight away. Because then you just stop, even at something tiny like this, you stop the air getting inside, and you stop the hole becoming too big, and that's when the pieces can work loose. So both down to the scriber. And then if you've got a really good scriber like this one, which is, I'm sorry, I just don't know the brand name of this. Someone might be able to help me. with the name, because I know it's a really old one and I inherited it, but I've never been able to find the brand name of it. So I'm sure someone out there will help me, I hope. Tell me the name. There, so I've got 2 holes, and then I'm just going to tap it on the workboard and make it a little flat. That's the end, a little bit flatter. That's the end of the sleeve. And then these cocktail sticks can go through now, so I tend to twist them through. And then I'm going to leave the pointed bit, so that 1 centimetre there, that will go into the polystyrene. So always pointed. Well, obviously I've got both pointed ends on. So there. So like that. Oh, just have to get these on. That's the wrong way. That one is the wrong way around. So that's better look. So like that. So narrow part to the top. And then if they do need shaping, roll them on the cocktail stick. I'm just shaping the little end, the top parts here, so that there's a good join when they go on. And then it's getting them into position, so you can, again, you see turning your paper is brilliant. So I'm going to put them dead centre, but just under the collar there. So if I put that point in and then turn it round, and I can look across and put the other one in on the other side. And then in, so because I'm not coming down at that acute, they're not going to sit right up. I'm just going to put them more sticking out a little bit. Just twist that scriber in about, well, the centimetre. Hopefully we'll get that centimetre in. And obviously it's going into the polystyrene. So I'll just use gentle twisting actions, and then you won't distort too much. And then I'm going to put them in as is, because I'll trim them once they're in to put the little hand on. So I am going to definitely put a little bit of glue on. I'll do that now onto that where the top of the arm is. Just a tiny bit there. Just press. I'm just trying to push them down a little bit more, because I can see that they're on about the same angle as that, but I won't try too hard on camera. Right, and that one's got in a lot better. That's it. So they're both in. Just be careful from a safety point of view with those points. You could cut those off if you want, but it is an unpleasant experience if you do get stabbed by a cocktail stick. So I won't want that to happen to you, so be careful. And then hold on to the end of these sticks as well. So because the hand is so tiny, I'm cutting right at the base of the sleeve. I'm not leaving much to support the hand, basically nothing to support the hand, because it'll get in the way. So I think I'm going to have to come a little bit. Yeah, so hold on to it. So this little bit here that's going to come off, just be careful, because I'm doing it face forward. I don't want that, even though I've got glasses on, if you haven't, you don't want those little bits flying in towards your eyes. So I'm just turning away from that while I do it. And then same with this one. That's it. So there's basically nothing there, they're straight. Just adjusting them. Those little arms, I'm just going to have to adjust them a little bit. And then I'm going to mould a tiny little piece edible glue on the hen. So just like a flattened little pad, it's going to be for the hand. And I'm just gluing that little tiny bit of wood that's left there. Because they're so minute, you know, they're not going to fall off because they're just so tiny. Getting the right size, getting the, well, not the right size, the same size. Flatten them down and then just pop those on. I'm trying to put them in the middle of the sleeve. That's it, so that's your little arms on. So now we're going to do the face. So first thing is the little pet lip. So again, you just need a minute amount. So half a pea, we'll say. And that's probably, well, start with half a pea, but I think that's too big. So I'm just gonna, we'll say a quarter of a pea. So they're absolutely tiny. Just come into the middle here. So just make a little tiny sausage shape. What I'm going to do is put a little bit, I've got a little bit of gin in this bottle. You could use water, but gin's definitely better because it absorbs, but it dries much quicker. So I'll put a little bit of gin on, because I'm going to use some gin to blend as well, to blend this lip in a little bit. So there, so that's actually too big. You better have to make it just a little bit smaller because it reduces the trimming. So I'm going down even less. So this might be trial and error, but don't worry too much, because if your head is quite dry, which mine is, you'll be able to take it on and off with ease if you're working with Saracino, so you won't have any problems. So that's better. So that's about 1 centimetre long. Just make it into an N shape. And then put that on. What I'm going to do is going to get it on and then just show you. I'll just try get hold of the ends and just blend them down a little bit. So you don't want to push it at all from the top, so you don't want to flatten it on the top. So at the moment it looks a little bit crude under here because there's no blending and no shaping going on. And then what I tend to do is get your fingertips on it and start blending the very bottom of it there. But put some, so if your gin hasn't evaporated, which I think mine has, put some gin or, so gin or vodka you can use, or any clear spirit, or I think, I don't know whether you can use, I know people use the lemon extract, I don't know whether that would probably work. I think anything clear and anything that, of course, it's got to evaporate quickly, but certainly you can use water by all means. So I'm just putting a little bit of the alcohol on and then just blending it gently. You could use, if you've got a Dresden tool, so the flat end of the Dresden tool, you can just blend down a little bit. I'll just look at it, check it from the side, got that little nice little curve on it, and then just to refine it a little bit, get the craft knife on it and then cut it down at an angle towards the base of the face. I'll just take off that little bit of excess. if there is any excess. So that's why it's good to have no excess if you can, but obviously you can see how tiny it is. And blend. And then what I do is I normally get the little nail art dotting tool as well on it. So this, and if it needs a little bit of a shape where the underneath there, I just shape it a bit and blend it with this, and then it looks like it's not been stuck on. Because of how the baby is, it's sat, you know, with its head down, you don't see underneath here anyway. It's just to refine the shape. I'll just put a little bit of gin on my fingertips, but I don't want too much on because I've got to dust it, you see, so I don't want a damp area really. I want to let it dry just a little bit. That's it, yeah. So just with gentle blending, that looks a little bit more natural. What I'm going to do is just, I'll pop it down a minute. I'm just going to dry my fingertips. And then you can use, because I've got to dust it, well, if you had time you could just let the alcohol evaporate or let the surface dry if you use water. But I'm just drying it up and then using a dry fingertip to get rid of that damp area. But I think a dry fingertip and stroking the paste works brilliant with Saracino. That's it. So that's your little lip. And then got the zero paintbrush and some grey dust there. So I'm using water this time. You can just dust with dry dust, you know, rub the bristles in and put dry dust in, but it always, of course, because of you're going in creases, it'll always fly everywhere, and then you need to wipe it. So if you dampen the bristles just a little bit in some water, and then I'm not like making so much of a paint, but just making it so that the brush is tacky. And then when I go in, I'm hoping there won't be too much dust flying everywhere. Just close those bristles together. Just go in. And then you'll see you'll see the indents that you made much clearer than just leaving it as it is. You could leave it as it is by all means if you wanted. So you don't have to do this dusting if you don't want to, but you know, again, it just depends on how much work you want to do and how much time you've got. So I tend not to make it too dark, so that looks okay. There's bare minimum sort of on the out, you know, excess has come over. If you weren't happy with it and you could see the bits of grey outside of the outline, again, just use the non-fluffy, barely damp baby wipe. But because I want to dust it now, again, I've just got to be so careful of not putting too much moisture on it, because it will sort of get patchy areas if I catch it. And then, so I'm happy that I can come near the eye without too much trouble. I'm going to put a little bit, I'll do the cheeks now. So I've got this nice bright pink here, pinky purple kind of colour. And I've got a makeup brush. So I use makeup brushes generally for dusting models because I've got loads and loads of bristles on and they don't lose the hairs. So I'll just load this up, and then this is a nice kind of circular one on the end. So I can come down and just get a nice natural looking cheek on it. So just by kind of pouncing action. So these little tablets, you kind of have to, you do generally have to kind of load it up. But in a way that's better because it doesn't put too much on too quickly. So you've got a bit more control with these, so I do like them. So you probably won't be able to see it really well on video, but obviously there'll be photographs on for you to see. I can show you one, well hopefully you'll be able to see this one. There's one that I did previously that's really heavily dusted, so hopefully you'll be able to see that better. So I'll put quite a bit on. You could do red, really bright red cheeks if you wanted, obviously, because he's screaming, he or she, you know. So I'm going to use the red for the lip and the nose for this one. There, but there's one that I did previously, one with little eyes in, look, and that one has got all the shading as well. So I tend to try do the shading with this skin tone colour before I put the hat on if I can. But you can do it after the hat's on, but of course you just have to be careful with dust going everywhere. And I'll just put a little bit of red on the lip, saying I just have to be careful. Because, well, it's slightly damp, but it's okay, it looks fine. And then just a little bit of red on the nose. And then because it's been drying a while, so I know I had got a little bit of pink on there, but I'm just going to rub it out on the kitchen roll there. But then I'll do a little bit of shading now. So I'll just do it all around the outer edges. So the hat's, obviously the hat is going to come round here. So if you wanted to, you could shade all under here and then under the chin. But it's totally optional, but they do look really good if they've been shaded, because it just kind of outlines the whole of the head. And again, if you don't want to, so just remember, if you don't want to hold the head, put a skewer in. This is a lot easier to do, actually, to do it this way. That's why I put a photograph on for you, to remind you to take them and put them on sticks whenever possible. But if you've got a good brush, so this, I would class this as a good brush, because it will load loads of dust on, and then it will cover an area quite quickly, even with these compact ones. So and then say like under the chin area there, it creates like a shadow. Let's see, that's got a little bit on. If I want demonstrating, I'd probably spend another few more minutes on it, but I'm quite happy with that. Okay, so that's the head all done. I'll just get rid of these. And then we're still not going to fix it on yet, but what you can do is this, it's like, this is the fun part now. You can pop the head on, And then just have a little play with positioning, really, just thinking about how do you want it looking. So if you've made two, you could always like have them looking at one another, or this one just looking away. This head has gone on quite straight, but like I said earlier on, if you're with polystyrene, sometimes, well, it's always beneficial to just adjust it and move it. So they do look really adorable with its head sat down, because the lip is just stuck right out then. But you'll lose some, you know, you'll lose a lot of feet, you'll lose the eyes really once the hat goes on, but it's up to you. So just sit and think, right, I'm going to have it looking like that, but you don't commit to it fully until the hat's on, because the hat, we know we take it off to put the hat on. Okay, but we're nearly there with it now. Hello, so here we are on we're going to put the hat on now. So what I've done is I've cut out a piece of red, so that's about 3mm thick. So you don't want this too thin, because what happens when you try form the peak of the hats, it will all go floppy if it's too thin, and then obviously too thick, and you're going to create more bulk. So if more weight, sorry, it's going to maybe tip the head a little bit if you go too thick with it. But there's lots of ways obviously you can shape the hat, but I'll show you the basic technique. And I'm not quite sure how I'm going to shape this one at the moment. So what I'm going to do is put the head back on the skewer, and then just into there to hold it, and then put a good bit of Trex all over the top of the head. And then what we do with this, I'll put that there for support, is just put a little pleat in, or a little fold, so like that, and then that's going to fit. So if you bring your head over, put that on, and obviously the more I fold this now, so if you join both, I'll just bring it out of here. So the more you join the edges together at the back there, so you got, if you press it, you're going to make obviously the little peak is going to become tighter and tighter. But because I'm demonstrating and I don't want to try be too go too much with it, I'll just put a little straightforward one just pointing straight up on. I think I might just, because it's curving that way, I'll probably be able to curve it a little bit that way, but just to show you the basic technique. And I'm not covering this one's eyes too much, because I want to, if you can, it's easier to put the fur on the fur trim actually on the skin part, the head part, right, but you can put it on top of the hat, but that's a little bit trickier to do. So it just depends on your style of baby really. So with this one, I'll just have a look and see, make sure I can see a little bit. Yeah, I'm happy that I'll be able to see a little bit of his eyes there, or her eyes. This one's a little girl. Right, and then it's a little bit sticky, the Saracino, so I just need to get some corn flour on so I can get hold of it. So once you're happy, just press the hat all on. If there's any bits that are loose, well, you can either go under with Trex or go under. Obviously it is more security to go under with a little bit of edible glue and just secure that base of the hat. And then, so it's totally pinched together is that piece, and then it's best to come up, this is why it's great to hold it on a skewer, to come up with the scissors and just cut a point straight up. So I'm going to cut all that excess off. Okay, so that's all come off, and there, look, that's how it looks at the back now, and then you can just smooth that down. You've got your little peak there. And once we've done that, so it's a lot easier to do it on the stick. I know I said that before, but particularly for the hat, you know, so I try and remember not to fix it onto the body and then try and get the hat on. It is, of course, it is achievable, but it's just awkward because you can get in much better on the stick. You can get in, or on the skewer. And just pop in there, because I need a little bit of flesh coloured paste in there, so that's sort of going to be his neck, but depending on how you position the head, he might not be, well, I try not to be able to see too much paste in there when I actually position these little heads, so only a really small pea size I'm going to go for. Pop that over, so I'll just pop that over like that, and then I'm going to put a little bit more glue on the top there, and then get it into position. So this one, I want it kind of looking that way at that one. That's its twin. So and then to help ground the whole thing now and keep it nice and secure before I put the actual fur on, is I'm going to put it on this ice board. So I did do a little video for this, but I'll put it on at the end of the main video just in case anyone wants to see how I did it, but I was just trying to reduce filming time. So do is I'll use a little bit of red, make it quite tacky on here with glue. And then make this little piece really warm and sticky, and then that little body, because you'll be able to press down on it, will press down onto this piece, and it'll be nice and, well, it'll certainly be nice and secure in the morning. So more glue on the top there. I'm just going to have him or her sitting after, and I'm just checking the head. I'm just looking underneath at that little neck piece that I put in as well to make sure that it's not squeezing out too much, and it isn't. Generally if you don't put too much in, it's okay. And then I'm just giving it a little wiggle to make sure that it's well embedded. Making sure it's nice and straight. That's it. And then this piece, so I'm just going to re-roll, not re-roll it, I'm just going to make it just a little bit thinner. So if you want to keep it even, if you haven't got anything like a sugar extruder or one of those, I can't remember what they're called, where you just like wind the handle and it makes ropes for you. But I have like a Sugarcraft gun, but it's a little bit, I wanted to keep it a little bit thicker, this rope. Okay, just checking. And then, so I'm going to just use Trex initially. I can just put some, warm it up, and so it will spread better. And then just put a little bit on the base of the head, so the skin tone all the way under. say tricks, so don't worry. I wipe, if there's any excess tricks, I do wipe it off. But you don't have to worry about marking your work with tricks on Saracino, because it just literally just disappear. And again, just press it on from the front to the side there. That ain't gonna hold there, so I'm gonna, because it's a little bit weighty, I'm gonna have to get some glue on it, on that bit. And on the back there. As long as when you put your fingertips on, as long as you just keep them on this red bit down on the base of the head, you should be okay. You won't be squashing it too much, especially if you've, well, like me, obviously this video's taken me quite a while to do, but in reality, depending on how you work, it could take you a while as well to sort of get to this point, especially if you do create the Santa. So, because of the extra decoration. Oh, and I forgot, I did put the little sleeves on as well, the little white bit. There, look on there, because I forgot to show you that, but they're there. So that's the hat. And I've just made a bit of a join. I'm not blending it too much at the back. Just as long as it's on nice and secure, which it is. So I just keep turning it and say, well, it definitely is easier to put it on like that, because you see the difference. So this one was much thicker as well. So I've learned myself, well, I know from doing a few, and I've had to do them all different ways depending on how much face I wanted showing, so, and just how the hat went. So there's no rules really, but if you can get it this way that I'm doing now, it is a lot easier. That's it. And then the bobble, so I've got the bobble here, and all you do a little bit of glue on the top there. And that's just like a large pea size. And all I'm going to do is make an indent with the paintbrush, so just about 5 or 6 millimeters in, and then in the full point, but it will just sit on top there, little bobble. That's it. So I'll just hold this carefully up so you can see what I've done so far, and then all I've got to do on here now are the ears. So here we are on the ears then. So these are just little simple little shapes. So got a really small pea size there, and just make it nice and pliable, and then pop the big end of the ball tool to make, I'll hold it up so it makes like a kind of a ring all the way around. I'm just dipping that ball tool in a little bit of cornflour because it's sticking there. So I've just popped in there and made that, and then it's going to come off there. I'm going to cut it in half, craft knife, just nip it together. So at the moment it's got like a kind of triangle shape there, but to make it easier to stick to just straight to the head, I'm going to just cut a little slither off there, I'll just have to take these out of the way of the camera a moment. So bend, lay them down, and then trim. So I've got, they literally are little triangle shapes from the back of those, and then it's just getting some glue. So you should have a little straight area that you can glue. And then popping them on, and then when I put them on, I put them just a little bit further forward from the centre of the head from the side, so just a little bit further forward, and then kind of in between where the eye is and where the nose is, for a, well, we'll call it a human baby. It's a cartoon baby, isn't it? And then if you want to just sort of refine the ear a little bit, so make the inside of the ear the mini ball tool, and then take that, put your fingertip behind where you're to rest so that you don't squash the ear, and then just put the ball tool and give it a little bit of a wiggle and just shape that ear. I'll just try and get this one right because it's falling off, and then I'm just going to hold it up to show you. There, so yeah, they are sticking out a little bit, these babies' ears, so I haven't pushed them back like a human ear because I think they look cute when they're stuck out like that. Okay, so, and I won't put the other one on because obviously, well, I'll put it on after, but the other one is just the same, so that one's ready to go on. And then the only other thing to do, of course, is the little tears, but unfortunately there's no way I could pipe those to show you, but I've got a little sample to show you. So they're always the last thing, so they look like little jewels, don't they? So it's just piping gel. So what happens to piping gel? Normally, well, it takes a couple of days, but it does almost set, and it's like a sticky jelly sweet. So it holds its consistency. It's wonderful stuff, really. If you've never seen it, you can get it in smaller tubs than this, but that's piping gel, or Saracino sell it as cake gel. I'm just checking that because I wrote that down. Yeah, cake gel. But if you haven't got any, well, this is, I've got this example here. So if you didn't want to invest in any piping gel just to do this, because it's such a tiny task, just make them out of sugar, out of modelling paste, out of Saracino, and they look brilliant with blue running, you know, out of the eye. So just mould little tiny pieces and then fix them on. But if you have got some gel and you want to pipe some on, I've just got a little tiny bit here in the piping bag, but of course I would have to come in on the downward angle and then come up. But just to show you, if you've never piped before and you want to go, so just have a practice run first. You can wipe them off if they go wrong, but then you're going to have to, you know, let the area dry, and then you'll have to redo your cheek and things. So don't worry, it's achievable. But maybe just have a go on a practice head. That's what I'd do if I was a bit nervous. But it literally is just squeeze, just keep squeezing at the same sort of pressure, and then gradually release the pressure and pull up, and keep on the surface of the, you know, keep the tip of this piping bag on the base of the head. So squeeze, gradually release the pressure, and then pull up, and it will make, I know it looks a bit full of tears there, but it will make that lovely little teardrop shape. So that one, I took this to the NECC, so that one there is just tacky. It just feels like a little jelly sweet now. Okay, so that's your little Santa baby made then. So if you've stayed and watched the whole video, thank you very much, because I know it'll be quite a long video, and sometimes it's hard to watch when it's not live as well, because you maybe don't feel like you're interacting with it. But if you've got any questions at all, just please let me know.